Halo, raz, dva, furt mě tam máš? Raz, dva, raz, dva. Raz, hej, 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 hej. Raz, dva, tři. Jo? Raz, dva, raz, dva, raz, dva, raz, dva, raz, dva. Hej, 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 hej.
Morning. Yes, I can.
Yes, I do. Morning.
Morning. Dobrý den.
Guten Morgen, Rano.
strategy for the new for the small and medium-sized businesses, so it will definitely also incorporate some new things. Great attention should be paid to also cross-border business and exports for the European SMEs. The market is very important in Europe because it's about more than 70% of all business for these SMEs, and actually 83% of all those businesses sell within the European Union. But it's clear that the number of SMEs could be even higher, who actually those that export to EU, because in the production sphere we know that there's only 17% of all the exports from the SMEs actually is among the EU member countries. What is the problem? Persisting obstacles on the European market. The Deputy Minister could talk about that in great details because she's been very effectively struggling or actually dealing with these obstacles, and I try to help her. And also there are some burdensome and too complex regulations in the different EU member states. There are sometimes an obstacle. And production companies are an important source of growth. Only 600,000 of European SMEs, which employ about 6 million persons, export beyond, outside the EU, which is a huge potential. And the EU wants to launch a new information portal, which should actually increase the awareness among the SMEs. They also plan to expand the Erasmus program for young entrepreneurs throughout the world. It can be quite interesting for startup businesses and new entrepreneurs, in the framework of which these new entrepreneurs will be able to get experience on third markets. And I'd like to finish here. There's a big question mark. It is the setting of new relations after Brexit with the United Kingdom. And what matters is whether there will be an agreement or the so-called hard Brexit. And we know that the Commission is acting on behalf of the EU. She's the President of the EU is talking to the Prime Ministers, and it is a topic which we will be dealing with till the end of this year. As you can see, there are many opportunities, of course, connected with all kinds of challenges which you have to overcome. And we try to speak on your behalf, SMEs in the European Parliament, and actually believe me that we've been able to move things for the better. Unfortunately, I can't stay here for the discussion. I must be running, having some other appointment, and mainly after almost 20 hours of work we will analyze the understanding that we have achieved so that it can be actually spread across in the whole world, so that you can find contact on my website, and of course I will be available to you and look forward to the future events with the AMSP. Thank you for your attention and wish you a good discussion. Also, we wish to thank you very much to Brussels. Ladies and gentlemen, we will proceed with the main. Before we proceed with the main part of this forum, I'd like to thank our partners, and it's the companies. Sorry, interpreters can't hear. Škoda Auto, Volkswagen, Financial Services, Czech insurance companies, and also trade news and Maxo companies, for the minutes. So thank you very much. I'd like to say a few words about the export formulas. For this year, we have divided it into two parts. The first part, which we are part of today, focuses on the internal EU market, and the second will be focused on export outside or beyond the boundaries of the European Union. A few last technical remarks. Please do not chat your questions, but AMSP at msp.cz. And for those of you who will want to actually see the minutes of this meeting, it will be available in the days to come. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to say in the introduction a few pieces of information why we have chosen countries like Germany and this country. Both we have selected Italy and Germany as very important trade partners. Italy in the first wave was most hit by the COVID pandemic. In Germany, it is our biggest export and trade partner within the EU, and so we want to discuss the situation today and what we have to prepare in the future for. A few figures. In 2019, the Czech export was 4.5 billion crowns, and almost 84% ended up in the market, in the EU markets, by which we clearly declare our dependence on the markets of the European Union member countries. Just to complete the picture of this total volume, 32%, that is 1/3 of all the exports, has been taken by Germany. About 4% by Italy. Comparing the available statistical data in the comparison of 2020 and 2019, I would like to review the first 3 quarters of this year. We can talk about roughly about a 10% drop. Of course, on the other hand, it can seem to be a pessimistic figure. On the other hand, also optimistic figure. Why am I saying this? If we make a year-to-year comparison, that is the April to April, there was a drop in exports by about 38%. And in comparison with that, we have first positive reports coming for the month of October, when the export figures could get into green figures, 6.8% increase in comparison with the previous year, which is a very positive signal for the Czech exporters that there's a willingness to cooperate here. And on the other hand, our products are needed in the economy, in the industries, and I hope we will be able, also thanks to the help of the different countries and all the tools, to continue in this positive statistical trend. So now I will engage my guests now. Good morning once again. I would like to address the Deputy Minister. If she could evaluate from her position the impacts of COVID on the Czech industry and how it can be seen on the activities of Czech enterprises. Yes?
Good morning one more time, and I would like to thank the SME Association for their invitation. I am very glad that I have the opportunity to address all of you and that I can be part of this very interesting panel. Thank you one more time. About the question how we perceive the impacts of the pandemics on the industry and export activities. I think we don't have to talk about this for a long time. All of us know about it. We all know what we experienced in spring this year had not been preceded before, and we know that it had a very great impact on limitations of worldwide demand, and also the supply chains were severely interrupted. It had also impact on production lines and production in general. All of this also reflected in statistics. So in April, in terms of exports of our companies, we saw a big drop, 36%. And in the following months, we see the recent figures from September and October. We see a slowing down of this drop. And we see small changes. However, we have to be very careful in terms of SMEs and their activities on foreign markets. We have to make them easier and possible and more feasible for them. We have seen also other new trends caused by the pandemics. And their impact on export activities. It is our perception of our own vulnerability and also how we depend on exports from markets outside of Europe. And as I've said, these restrictions in supply chains have also reflected in the fact that our production companies did not have the key components that they needed for their further production. So we see, and we will see in the future pressures on relocation of the production towards Europe, and also big pressure on diversification of the suppliers. That's all for the introduction. I can continue later. Thank you. I'm very glad you have a great opportunity to hear this directly from the Deputy of the Minister of Trade and Industry. I would like to ask Mrs. Antonella Fontana if she could describe us in her own words the situation in Italy now.
Yeah, first of all, thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Nejdříve bych vám chtěla poděkovat za pozvání. Pardon, vypadl zvuk. Vypadává zvuk, omlouvám se. Neslyším nic. Teď. Neslyším. Pardon. V prvních 9 měsících tohoto roku, teď už bohužel neslyším nic.
I have a problem with the interpreter because I hear the interpreter while I'm talking.
I'm sorry, I can't. Yes, I'm sorry. I heard only. I'm sorry. I heard only the few words, and then I can't hear anything anymore. So
can you hear me?
Now, yes. So now I can hear you. Yes. Now I can hear you.
Okay. So I will start again. First of all,
takže začnu znovu. Ještě jednou bych vám chtěla poděkovat za pozvání.
In the first 9 months of the year, the Italian export decreased.
V prvních 9 měsících tohoto roku Itálie zaznamenala krizi a bohužel neslyšela jsem procento poklesu. Neslyším, omlouvám se.
So Italy is suffering a huge impact because of
takže na Itálii to skutečně mělo ohromný dopad, ten COVID.
Small and medium enterprises,
malé a střední podniky
economic system are the most affected.
Byly nejvíce zasaženy v tomto hospodářském systému, dopad byl velký.
The most damaged sectors are
nejvíce poškozené sektory jsou samozřejmě turistika, restaurace,
restaurant and fashion
a móda
and restaurants.
A restaurace, ještě jednou říkám.
On the contrary, we are also some growing sectors.
Na druhé straně jsou zde některé sektory, které narůstají,
which are pharmaceutical,
což je například farmaceutický sektor, e-commerce, tedy
and agrofood.
A zemědělské potraviny a
food.
A prostě
Yeah, so Italy has been hugely affected. The economy has been affected, but we have also hope for the future and also new possibility and new opportunities for the future. And I think we will discuss about this today. I'm not sure I can't hear the interpreter anymore. I'm not sure you can hear me.
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. I apologize for small technical problems. I hope we will be able to fix them. I would like to ask Mr. René Harun, as a representative of the Czech-German Chamber of Industry, and if he could describe to us the situation in Germany, how he perceives it.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm very glad to take a part in this very interesting forum, and I'm very glad to see Mrs. Tauberhofer again. We met once in the German embassy at a lunch together with your minister, Mr. Havlicek, and I know that you speak very well German also. What's the situation in Germany? Of course, the German economy was the locomotive of the whole Europe economy, but we had also very, very big problems there. We had a decline in this year. It will be approximately of the gross domestic product of about 5.1%. That's a huge figure in this year, and the next year it could be also rise up to 5.3%. The GDP in the minus. Also, due to decline on demand, German foreign trade became lower and lower, and it is really a pity when you look between the foreign trade between Germany and the Czech Republic. It is like Mr. Reitschläger already quoted. It is the hugest foreign trade we have in the European Union also. And I want to give you some figures before the Corona time we had in the past. So between Germany and Czech Republic, we had a foreign trade of 92 billion euro. That's a huge amount. It's nearly two times more than the foreign trade between Germany and the Russian Federation, for example. Or it was at least the half of the foreign trade between Germany and China or the United States of America. And if you count everything together, the Visegrad 4 countries, so Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary, was 303 billion euro in the past, and that's huge more than between Germany and the Republic of China, for example. Now the situation has fallen down. And from the 92 billion euro we had in the past between Germany and Czech Republic, we will have at least 46 billion euro in this year. So we are coming down at least at the half of the good situation we had in the past. Maybe we will come at the end of the year up to, let's say, 65 or 70 billion euro foreign trade between Germany and Czech Republic. We have also done a survey due to our members of German Czech Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and we have seen that the sales decline is also quite huge. So let's say we had about 100 companies that were participating in the survey, and nearly 40% in May this year, they were expecting that they will have decline up to 25%. So it becomes a bit lower now. We have 27% that were quoting a decline up to 25%. So the situation is now a bit better than it was before in the first wave we had in this year. So we have to expect how will be the situation at the end of the year, and very interesting will be the next year.
I absolutely agree. Thank you for the information about the situation in Germany. I would like to continue. Of course, SMEs are more vulnerable, and very often I'm sorry, the sound dropped again. What support do the companies get? Could you tell us, the deputy of Mrs. Tauberova, could you tell us what the state has prepared for SMEs? What kind of support? Of course, I will be very happy to. Of course, you know that for SMEs, there is a Czech trade agency that offers their services, and we have noticed that during the pandemics, the interest in their services has grown significantly. It is also connected with the fact that the companies needed immediate help and support in emergency situations because the borders were closed and they could not travel. So they had their goods at the borders and needed to discuss the customs matters, and they need to get their goods across the borders. Very soon after the pandemic started, we agreed with Czech Trade Management, and for our SMEs, we've been providing services for free of charge. This will last at least until the next quarter of next year. At the same time, we noticed very significant interest in other companies that started to work as business agents because many companies could not send their clients to other countries by planes. What also was serious was lack of information about the situation in individual markets. That's why the foreign agencies saw interest in information provision. We have a portal called Business Info CZ, where we provide information, and through these foreign agencies, we supported the companies with information. So we map the situation in individual markets and provide this information on the portal. We know that the Czech Export Bank and the guarantee insurance company EGAP also started providing their services in a flexible way, and they started providing more advantageous conditions for our exporters. Both in terms of pre-export funding, funding of export consumers, and also bank guarantees. We perceive that SMEs need help with promotion, how to get to new clients. So, of course, the situation which had been restricted by the closed borders and lack of freedom to travel and meet. So it led us to us providing the services in the digital environment. As you know, we started providing many web seminars with topics like Brexit and customs issues, the relationships between the Great Britain, European Union, in the first half of the year. We started running new projects, various consultation meetings with various companies, and we. It's called eMeet Export 2020. The first one was in June, the last one recently in November. SMS are very, very interested in consulting the current situation in various markets. And at the same time, as you know, many trade fairs were cancelled this year. Many of them started being organized in a virtual form. For example, a digital one in Brno, Peru. In Shanghai, in China, without the physical participation, and they used Czech trade as their representative in China, in Shanghai, and they used also their sales representatives as those presenting their products. We also have a new cooperation for digital promotion of our companies. It's called Promotion Digital 4.0, where we addressed suppliers of digital technologies, making it possible to use the extended reality and artificial intelligence to promote products. 17 Czech companies applied, and it confirmed our conviction that Czech Republic, in terms of the artificial intelligence, is a sort of a Silicon Valley in Europe. So we are very happy about it. So next week for SMEs, the Czech trade, using their webinar on Monday afternoon, will introduce these companies, and subsequently on our website we will have a catalog of all 17 suppliers ready, so that individual companies can see the individual accessible technologies and products for digital promotion. They can look at them themselves. So I'm very happy about this, and I'm sure this will be a very tangible benefit for them, because we cannot expect that the situation would improve starting in January. So we'll have to stay in this digital environment for some time, and we will need also in the future to have a suitable combination of all of these comprehensive tools for support of our SMEs on the market. And I would like to mention one more thing that's also essential. Also the member of parliament mentioned this at the beginning, as the support of SMEs that goes hand in hand with the new financial market from 2020 to 2021, when the European Union has prepared a strategy for the support of SMEs, and the Ministry of Trade and Industry is not behind in this. So we have finalized our strategy now to support SMEs in the Czech Republic as well for the period of the following 6 to 7 years. And why do I mention this? Because a key part of the strategy is the access of SMEs to the markets, and we will focus in a systematic way on support of facilitating the access of SMEs to support of internal markets, which is a natural background for SMEs in their export activities. And at the same time, we will focus on a stronger support of diversification of SMEs and opening markets for them outside of the European Union. The MP of the Parliament, by the MP of Parliament, we heard about the access to market database, which is offered also in the Czech language in all European Union languages. They offer information about all European markets, conditions of access, and also contractual settings between the European Union and these countries. And we will, part of our strategy will be also targeted support of internalization of SMEs in the world. And this also brings me to mentioning some pilot projects. We have already talked about this at some other forums and events, and it is the preparation of pilot projects like incubators, export incubators of companies. In the next quarter of next year, we will launch the first project in India, in Bangalore. This we will. In our trade news magazines, we will focus on the Indian market and where we will introduce this incubator and the whole project. This project will make it possible for SMEs that are interested in entering the Indian market for 6 months free of charge. They can share the office spaces and administrative back offices so that they can talk to their business partners in this environment. And last but not least, next year, in the first quarter, we will open or reopen the design center of Czech trade, which is also a quite interesting thing because we know that many SMEs and production plants have high quality products, but they need help with modern design so that they can strengthen their competitiveness in foreign markets. And we will be a quite strong support for them in this because we will strengthen the cooperation of SMEs with Czech and foreign designers, and we will support the participation of our companies in designer competitions and trade fairs, and we will also offer internships in some interesting destinations for them that will also focus on SMEs. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just in short, I'd like to ask Mrs. Fontana to tell us what the situation is in Italy on the score.
Yeah. So in April, during the first lockdown, the situation was really, really bad in Italy, maybe the worst in Europe. And at that moment, the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which is competent for export promotion, summoned the 12 sectorial working tables devoted to different industrial sectors and involving 147 sectorial business associations. Altogether, we wrote an export agreement. In Italian, we call it Patto per l'export, which was signed on June 8, and which foresaw several measures to support export, financed by more than 2 billion euro, because we understood that the main problem of Italian SMEs was liquidity. So in brief, an Italian company today can receive financial support in order to hire a digital export manager, finance e-commerce projects abroad, finance commercial projects in foreign markets, finance feasibility studies abroad, finance technical assistance programs abroad. And exactly as you did in Czech Republic, we did the same in Italy, because all this financial support can be requested without banking guarantees, which is very, very important for our SMEs. The same, our Italian trade agency, which is the counterpart of the Czech trade, is offering his service for free to SMEs. In addition, an Italian company can receive free information and training on foreign markets opportunity, on digital expertise. So we are offering free digital training because we understood that another problem besides the financial, the liquidity, is the digitalization. So we offer free digital expertise for SMEs and free assistance on international procurement. So these are the most important instrument. We worked also a lot on digital, so we are investing not only in training but also sign agreements with the major e-commerce platform like Amazon, WeChat, Alibaba, JD.com, and so on, to create Italian pavilion or Italian corner in every one of these platforms to promote Made in Italy. Moreover, we create an Italian digital platform called Fiera 365, which allow us to organize digital fairs, because the most affected sector is fairs, of course, like in Czech Republic and like everyone in Europe and also outside of Europe. So this new platform allows us to organize digital fairs, digital business mission, and also digital B2Bs. So I understood is more or less the same you did in Czech Republic. Of course, we hope to be able to come back to our normal life as soon as we can, but meanwhile, we have to work digital, and we are trying to put our SMEs in the best conditions to work on digital.
Has been perfect. Thank you very much for information. Mr. Harun, do you have anything which goes beyond these programs that, as they have been mentioned, as seen in the German economy? Is there anything that really is, let's say, beyond this framework, so to say?
Yes, we have also many programs like this. You were started here in Czech Republic. And if I may quote what the Minister of Financial Affairs and the Minister of Economy in the Federal Republic of Germany said, now we will start with our bazookas. They had special weapons for this. And those bazookas are still firing in German to provide the German economy. If I may, I was looking yesterday again on the website of the German Ministry of Economy, and I want to quote which programs they have. So in the in the bridging aid, the second phase, we are now in reimburses a share of 90% of the eligible fixed costs in the event of a drop in sales of more or like 70%. And the other 60% of the eligible fixed costs in the event of a drop in sales of more than 50% and less than 70%. 40% of the eligible costs and in the event of a drop in sales more than 30% and less than 50%. And it is in the funding month compared to the same month last year. And for the companies that were founded between September the 1st, 2019, and October 31st, 2019, the months of November 2019 to February 2020 are to be used for comparison. So we have many programs, and like in Italy, also the German economy is more than less and more focusing on the digitization. We have also the same problem as in the Czech Republic. We have a lack of skilled workers in Germany. And so that's a plus to go more and more and far to smart solutions in the economy, to smart solutions and digitalization in the economy. I know that we have big problems with the good internet connections. We are on the last rank in the federal in the European Union, but we are becoming better now, and I guess the focus on the digitalization now, it's really due to the COVID-19 situation we have also in Germany.
Thank you very much for these very interesting contributions. I think we will hear still very much about digitalization, but we are being pushed by time, so I would like to proceed further on because time is running more quickly than I wanted. Let me set one topic. There is shortening of the supply chains and opportunities for the Czech SMEs. Before I give you the floor, let me make some notes. That is what I prepared yesterday, and this is growth of prices of input materials in China, like 15%. Timber growth by 30%, which what influences the monetary policies are logistics, because the costs of transport to Asia, it's grows 50 to 400%. Because I found an article on BBC when the importer and importer of electronics used to pay about $2,000 for one 4-feet container, large, but now since December it has cost $8,000 to $10,000. That is 4 to 5 times higher costs now than what was before. Can you tell me just shortly how you see the situation, whether there will be shortening of the supply chain really, or whether the Czech, Italian, German companies are really starting to look for new suppliers within the European market so that they can have stable supplies of goods and can provide flawless service to their customers. Please be very brief. And Ms. Stauberova, can you start? Of course, I mentioned it partly in my previous presentation. We see that the interest in shortening the supply chain or realizing all the obstacles that our companies and also customers of certain components from the Asian market had to face. So we see that this trend is really a very market trend, and we may agree that it's too early to generalize here. But we have been conducting a discussion with our European partners on the European institutions, and there is emphasis on the strengthening of self-sufficiency in strategic sectors, be it pharmaceutical industry or and some others like health facilities and products. The emphasis is here, will be here for the future. Many European countries, all of us represented here, have felt the shortcomings of such medical devices, and of course we focus on strengthening our self-sufficiencies in this particular sphere. And regarding many other components like microchips, we know that in the world there are only a few key suppliers of them. So we see that the dependence on our partners is quite fundamental. But we try to face the challenge of the trend of increasing protectionism and overpressure on the strengthening of self-sufficiency, because we really try to conduct the debate in a balanced way and to lay emphasis on those strategic materials and products where really time plays a key role in supplies. But specifically, when you ask about companies where we see here interest or stronger interest in cooperating with the Czech companies, with European partners, yes, we do see that. Czech Invest have been looking for Czech suppliers to foreign companies, and for the past few months we have seen increased demand by European companies, and we see that the great European and transnational chains will have higher interest, and we see here an opportunity for the inputs and the supplies from Czech companies also. So much for me. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mrs. Fontana, how do you see this? How Italian companies deal with this matter? And are they looking to see new suppliers or, you know, in comparison the Asians, Europeans, etc.?
Definitely. COVID showed that long supply chains are not secure, so we are witnessing we call it a reshoring process towards Europe, which involves supply and production as well. And it is very interesting to see how, after decades of delocalization, the European industrial production is coming short and secure supply chain to benefit from borderless common market, from the higher individual productivity, from favorable business environment, and from the European rule of law, which is the best business insurance. In Italy, in the food sector, we have a kind of high quality standard rule, which is 0 kilometer, which means the closer the better. Of course, for the industrial sector, the 0 kilometer rule is simply impossible to apply, but for sure we can work on shortening our supply chain in order to make our economies stronger, because we have a huge common market which can offer us more or less whatever we need. Of course, we don't want to support protectionism, absolutely. We support free commerce, free worldwide commerce. But I think we can work inside the European common market to be more independent, above all in case of emergency. So, yes, I can confirm Italian industrial producers are trying to shortening their supply chain, and I think that the Germans are doing the same. And I think that this new process, this reshoring process, which actually started before the COVID problem, because we realized that very long supply chain make, in any case, industrial production difficult. And of course, with COVID, this was definitely clear and also quite dramatic. And I'm sure that this reshoring process can can create new opportunities for Italians, Czech and German production. I'm sure of it.
Well, I can directly agree to you, Antonella. Of course, we are in the same situation, but I would say that already in the past, we can say that the German companies or the German economy were starting to get back some production companies back from the South Asia, back to Germany, back to Europe. And also in the past, it was already that Czech Republic is the most important, especially in the automotive sector, the most important supplier for German companies. Yeah, so we are not talking not talking about the Skoda, but we are also talking for many other in the machinery sector for such companies. And as Antonella already said, it is really now the shortest way not only for the very tasty salami and mozzarella and other good products I like very much, but also for the machinery industry and for automotive especially. So that's the best way to have the 0 kilometer, the 0 miles in the best case from South Asia and back to Europe.
Yeah, and I can confirm, for example, CNH Industrial has the biggest plant abroad here in Czech Republic. At the same, Marzotto in the textile has the biggest plant abroad here in Czech Republic. So this is a process which started before COVID, and now with COVID, it's even more clear that it is convenient to reshore production in Europe. First of all, because the productivity level in Czech Republic, of course, the individual productivity is much higher than in India or in China because of transport cost, transport risk, and of course to enjoy the benefit of the common market and of the rule of law. I really agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for contributions. I rate them very highly. I am very happy to see that you have confirmed some matters that may have been just intuitive so far. The COVID-19 has brought many negative things for the Czech SMEs, but also many opportunities, because I think that our strength lies in that small and medium segment, in the supplier structures. And so thank you very much for your confirmation that these are the opportunities when foreign partners will need the Czech SMEs, hopefully, as reliable suppliers for their own production purposes. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to complete the first session of our today's Export Forum. I'd like to thank the Deputy Minister, to Mrs. Fontana and to Mr. Har and to Mrs. Labeva for their presentations, and allow me to wish you, in conclusion, all the best. Firstly, strong health, good health to you and your families, and beautiful holidays. And I'd like to hand over to Mr. Dalibor Musil, who will continue with the next session of our Export Forum. Thank you very much, and really good health.
Thank you.
Same to you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
this destination, which is the digital sphere, can cooperate well with your export teams. And of course, that makes you vulnerable. And this is what the pandemic shows. And in the future, the situation will not change very much. And this will continue many months ahead, maybe years ahead. And we will have to continue what we have learned during the past few months. And I'd like to give the floor the ambassador of the Czech Republic to India, who will be speaking directly from New Delhi, Mr. Hovorka. And Ambassador, I would like to ask you, in the context of the origin of the pandemic, there's a certain cooling of the relationship with China. Why India is a good place now, where it is good to expand today? And with your many years of experience with business, because you belong in the ministry, so how would you describe the situation? What could help the Czech companies? How your embassy sees the whole problem?
Thank you very much. I would like to greet my colleagues and friends. Before I answer these two questions, allow me to thank you for this discussion. I have to say that I really appreciate the long-term attention that the association devotes to the support of our entry to the Indian market. Také bych chtěl využít tu příležitost, abych pozdravil své přátele v Indii a zároveň bych jim chtěl poděkovat za jejich podporu v České republice v současné době. Mr. Musil, I wouldn't like to close the discussion this way, or I wouldn't put it in the context of our relations with India and China. Even though I have already mentioned repeatedly, it's a factor that I would definitely recommend to the companies to follow. And especially with the regards to the opportunities that this development can mean for them. I think that it is absolutely key to follow these trends, and the trend, they're clear. There's a 3 billion economy here that added to 1 billion lately, and it has an ambition to jump from 3 to 5 billion in a time interval of by 2024 or 2025. Of course, there's COVID here now, an unprecedented drop of economy by 25% in the first quarter of a current financial year. In the second quarter looks already more hopeful, but there's still a drop here. This time minus 7.5%, and based on the prognoses that are available, it seems that the economy could start to grow again at the beginning of 2021 or at the latest in spring 2021. I have to say that India is a country that not always supports the traditional way of trade. If you want to succeed this way, you have to make sure that you have something unique to offer. And if you also do trade with the state sector, it is based on the Made in India concept. And India, on the central level, as we can see, and also on the level of the individual states, has done a lot of work with the goal to open the economy and to make accessible many sectors, also in sensitive areas like defense and security industry. whether we want or not, such is the reality. India wants the foreign investors to come to the country, and they strive for their long-term presence on the market, to offer their services here, to make the products there, and create jobs as a result. And this is not only a wish. I have to say that the governments of the individual countries are very active to make sure that they make their entrepreneurial environment more attractive by many generous investment incentives. I understand that, especially for SMEs, this that this entry in the Indian market can be very difficult for many reasons. Based on our practice, we know that many SMEs, however, have succeeded in doing so. And then there is the entrepreneurial and investment incubator project in Bangalore, and that's what associating of companies is about. We have to use the synergies that are a result of our common cooperation, or overcoming the barriers and avoiding mistakes, and also support coming from the state, because we localize the project in other countries. So we would use a proactive entrepreneurial approach of the local government, and I am also very glad that since the very beginning we have been the idea of the entrepreneurial incubator, its origins, and as well as the platform and connecting Czech SMEs operating India long term. We call it the platform of Czech companies in India. However, now, honestly speaking, we strive for moving the project further forward. When I talk about the investments, what I mean by that, we want to make sure that this place is not only a point of contact or an address or for presentation of SMEs coming from the Czech Republic. However, we want to create an environment where we will be able to mobilize a few Czech companies that will get connected and will manufacture, invent, do business from one point, from one place. Mr. Kameník will tell you more about this. I'm glad that Mrs. Tauberová in the previous block also talked about this, and I think that I don't have to repeat and emphasize that I personally and the whole team here at the embassy in India are available fully for you in any regards to provide support to Indian authorities here, as well as to our Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Of course, there are also the activities of the embassy that are realized now in the digital environment. We have learned a lot in terms of digitization already. And I have to say that I am very proud of the Czech team here. By team, I mean my colleagues here at the embassy, as well as colleagues from other offices here in India, and for their work that they have done in the previous few months, where we have created here the e-plan of Czech export support. In the previous 4 months, we have been able to organize a number of networking activities focused on space technology, waste management, water treatment, railway industry, and so on. We have to finish. Okay, yes. Yes. Of course, you will receive the support from the Czech embassy. That's all. Thank you. I would like to thank you for the organization, for the support. Thank you for your entry. You said one important word, doing business in India. We have a representative of Lycos company here, Mr. Musil, who does business in India. I would like to ask Mr. Jan Musil, it is my son. That's why I'm telling him Honza instead of Jan. Why did you decide to change the model of direct export model to investing in India? What did it bring to you, this change? Hello. We started with the business model. That we will have a sales representative here and we will deliver our products there. However, soon it seemed like that it wouldn't be a good idea because the development was very slow and we weren't able to do business with these companies. I'm sorry, the reception is really bad. I cannot hear every word now, so I'm doing my best. We have to really establish a branch there or a company and really do this full time. That's the only possibility to be effective long term in India. So we have chosen this model. So we communicate with the institutions in India. We really want to offer the European quality, short delivery times, and acceptable prices for the Indian customer. What has it brought to us? What has this model brought to us? We have been using this model for 3 years or so. The last year, of course, has been affected by the current situation. However, on the other hand, it has been working already for a year or so without any changes, and it has been developing further. So, of course, it has helped us restart the business significantly. It has been developing and growing. And now we are planning other activities with our branches. So it has brought us a lot of new opportunities for us, nice relationships with companies. And we have been able to offer some new products to the Indian market. Such development nowadays, we are planning a similar project. If I may, you talked about the fact that you haven't been to India for over a year. However, the effect that the pandemic has both on the Czech and Indian market, the branch has been working very well, even better than in the past, it seems. Of course, it is the merit of the employees of Lycos company in India. And now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Dinesh. What is the cooperation with the Czech owners like? Where do you see the chances of a Czech company that has a branch in India now and on the Indian market? And what does this cooperation bring to you?
First of all, I take this opportunity to thank all the dignitaries.
Chtěl bych poděkovat za tuto příležitost a všem účastníkům.
Thank you for the short presentation, Mr. Lipo. How it is like to deal with a Czech company?
Jaké to je tedy ta spolupráce s českou společností?
For a company where we start from the scratch, the training which I had from the headquarters in Slavko with the top management till the installers in the company. We have been a big process to understand the product, what we are dealing with, how to take it up to the market. It's been a tremendous pleasure to learn. And I have to come back here to India to set up the factory the same way how we saw there in Czech Republic. So we have a
Omlouvám se, nejde tlumočit, bohužel zvuk neustále vypadává.
Copy paste or something like the same module what we have there. Process, of course, I saved because of the what I had there. Of course, it helped me to understand the international business, international.
Samozřejmě mi to pomáhá chápat lépe mezinárodní kontext a český biznes.
Europe, Africa, so it's international business what we are doing, and dealing with a product like what handling, which is 300 million euros. Percent of the product shares as being.
I would like to ask Mr. Kameník, Czech Trade Office Manager, since the beginning.
Indian market that we can see.
You have been at this project since the very beginning. Could you tell us more about
particularly,
it?
We are not just concentrating on the metro cities. We are also concentrating towards the pan-India business. For instance, we are doing the business in Bihar, which is a metro, or it's like other corner of India, Cochin or Surat, Nagpur, Coimbatore. It's a different regions other than the metro. Hello.
Participants of this blog. It is about 28 degrees Celsius here and it's sunny. I would like to thank you for your question. Hopefully I will be able to answer sufficiently. I would like to remind you that the Czech Republic, or Czechoslovakia actually, has established these diplomatic relations already about 100 years ago. And we, in 2004, when the access to the European markets became easier for the Czech Republic, we started to focus more on Asian markets at the same time too. I've gained some experience in India, or in 2010. In 2016, I moved to the south of India, where we established another branch. Czech Trade Agency provides standard services, advisory services, and we provide services to about 20 clients a year here. We work with our business partners. we get feedback from these companies as well. One of our services is long-term export assistance, where the office spaces are offered for charge to various entities. After our successful mission in 2017, where more than 20 companies were visited, we decided for cooperation of the association with our embassy, and we decided to create a common incubator that would help the Czech companies to enter the Union market. This started to operate this incubator with the assistance of an Indian entrepreneur. And we started to incubate 6 markets. 4 of them still remained on the market and were doing business in their own spaces. That's all about this, about what we have done in Bangalore.
I have one more question, Ivan. In terms of functioning of the incubator, there have been changes connected with the fact that the incubator is officially supported by the government of the Czech Republic. So what are the outputs for the Czech companies from that? Thank you for this question, because really what happens is a qualitative change in those services. We have decided, jointly with all those participants involved, and of course Czech embassy is involved, to operate this incubator through our foreign office. And I have been entrusted with managing this, and I have been happy to assume this duty, because I have some previous experience with similar function. We have called it business incubator, but it's related both to businesses and also investors. It'll be free of charge for the Czech companies, and it'll be a service provided for a period of 6 months. We will provide also some rooms for that. Sorry, the sound distortion is so big that the interpreters can hardly interpret. Sorry, we have some time limits for presentations. Thank you very much for your contribution. Let me sum it up what you just said, because we have connection problems. And so shortly, let me sum it up. At the present time, the incubator is ready for 6-7 companies. Some of the companies are really operating there. The basic information is that during the beginning, or by the beginning of next year, the incubator will actually provide a rental service free of charge. So these companies will have a free service. The next period, which we also appeal to, is that in addition to this office incubator, there will be also a company, this company halls available to provide the background, that is for the inputs, that is production and employing locals, the possibility of investing, transfer of know-how to India, which will create a strong, let's say, foothold or a position of that company. The next company that has experience with operating in India is Ecotech, which is represented by its owner, Mr. Korostensky, who has several years of experience with having invested in India and producing in India. Now, Mr. Korostensky, could you tell us why it's been important for you to invest in India, to find a branch office and to do business in India? What is the benefit for your company? Thank you very much. Let me say that India, for us, of course, is not only an enormous market, which the Czech Republic's market cannot be compared with, of course, but for my branch there is photovoltaics and renewable resources. So that country over the recent years has made incredible steps forward, and it has become the biggest investor in renewable resources worldwide. And unfortunately, the Czech Republic calculated per capita, etc., cannot compete, with the possibilities of that country. Next thing is that in those climate conditions, prices of energy and availability of energy, it is something where it really pays off to invest in renewable sources, which are basically economical without any subsidies, or profit-making without any subsidies. And the projects under preparations are really a big lure, a big attraction for our company, and also for some other companies doing business in this particular sector. Well, if you allow, I will interrupt you. And I would go back to what we are talking about at this seminar. These supplies for renewable sources, you could make that in the form of direct supplies from the Czech Republic. Why have you made a decision to produce and to do business in India? It is connected with investments, of course. Well, let me put it this way. Of course, in 2010, we were actually going to make to realize huge production quotas from the Czech Republic. Unfortunately, the Czech state government policy discouraged us from doing so, and actually this type of production is not running in the Czech Republic at present, and that is. And another reason, export of Czech products to India, that will be running counter to Czech trends of consumption and of production. This does not make any economic sense. The only sense that this implies is exports of capital and imports of dividends. This is why we made investments in a production facility in India, and so we produce in India, sell to the Indian markets, and basically the only thing that the Czech Republic actually has a position dividend taxes. So I wish you good success in India. Well, it's difficult. I haven't traveled to India since last February. Of course, setting up an online company or functioning on home office principle, it has not been easy to do. But nevertheless, we've been able to do so, and basically we have been able to find those interested in actually doing such business in terms of enabling their companies to flourish. And those we communicate in this way, and actual distance is half the globe, of course. So we have been actually successful in cooperating, and I'm happy to see that. Pane Kroslenský, já teď budu mluvit anglicky, protože se trošku zpožďuje tlumočení. Já bych chtěl teďka pan Reneše, jestli by nám mohl říct, jaký on má zkušenosti s českými firmami v Indii, jaké tam mají šance, příležitosti podle vašeho názoru a jaké jsou tady vaše zkušenosti a co byste k tomu nyní řekl? A pan Reneš stále není připojen, nebo není na lince. Pane Reneši, můžete hovořit? Ne, nevadí, asi to nejde. Takže teď jsme v kontaktu se zástupcem vlády ve státě Karnataka, pan Bharadbhai. Mr. Bharadbhai, jaká je možná pomoc vlády Karnataka českým firmám, které se ubírají do Indie, kteří zde chtějí investovat? Dostával se vám nějaké formy pomoci? Nějakých kroků, které můžete poskytnout tedy ve prospěch českých investorů v vaší oblasti? Než se to trošku rozběhne pro pana předsedajícího Musila zpráva od techniků, prosím, mluvte jenom česky, prý to nejde anglicky, když... We seem to have some problems, connection problems. I hope that we will get connected. We are struggling with some technical issues. So, before I know whether our connection to India is possible, I would like to give the floor to the partners of our export activities, which is the Export and Guarantee and Insurance Company, EGAP, represented by the Vice Chairman of the Board, Mr. Marek Dlouhý. Mr. Dlouhý, so we'll make a change in our program. Would you be so kind to tell us how EGAP, are we in connection, Mr. Dlouhý? Yes, I can hear you well. So, how can EGAP help? And please try to focus just on this topic. How can EGAP help Czech investors coming to such a remote marketplace, wanting to invest money, find to some local property and do business in that markets. It may be a quite new form of activities, business activities, maybe not brand new because the Czech companies used to invest there in the past, but we can see that there will be necessary to develop this way of cooperation because the companies must be stronger in those markets, must be a stronger presence, must be able to employ the locals, and of course allocate some resources and their not assets, and not to lose it, of course. Thank you, Mr. Musil, for your question. I greet everybody. So we, as insurance company, concentrate on hedging risks, and we hedge risks of all types for both Czech investors and Czech exporters. We must realize that there is a big difference between the risks. If you export, you need to hedge against the risks on default or non-payment, which covers our products with which we have had experience for years, and we have a good history with India because it's one of those less risky countries. We are asking about investments. It's quite a separate chapter of our activities because investors need to be to have certainty in those fields where they do business, and it's a little bit different type of security than what the exporters need. The Czech exporters who actually get insured by our company for investments, huge investments in car-making industry for billions of Czech crowns, and we have also SMEs who have their investments in the energy sector, construction sector, environmental sector, and I'm glad to see that your company is also one of our clients. As far as products are concerned, which you offer, those investments, the very basic one is insuring investments against political risks, which means that you obtain investment with your own funding, but what we cover is the risk of coming from the environment. There is expropriation risks, transfer risk, transfer of profit from investment to Czech Republic, risk of forcible events, terrorism, and insurance of contracts. When your company, which you have as investor, has some contracts with some local state institution, so actually we need to be assured that the contract will be met. So this is the very basic insurance coverage. It's not limited by credits. In times you have a loan for 5 years, so we of course insure your investment for 5 years, and you establish that investment and do business. So we do it on a yearly basis, like you have a house insurance. You come to EGAP and you want to have your investment insured, and you can decide whether you want it for the running year or not to do it, and not to go for it. And so this is what the rates are also about, depending on that. Rates, per annum rates are in tens of percents, and every year you pay this insurance amount for such an investment, and you can rest assured that your investment is not threatened. A higher level of insurance, which is not designed only for investors but also for the financing bank, is the insurance of investment credit. And you have as your partner the financing bank, more, where you take a loan for your investments, for modernization and for running, for operating. And this is typical credit insurance when you actually take away the risk from the bank of territory, or risk of territory, and also commercial success of your investment. That is the payback on your investment. And the pricing extends to the whole period of investment and is in units of percents, depending on the type of risk. Mr. Dlouhý, Mr. Vice President, how do you see as EGAP this trend that companies should invest in foreign countries, that they should create stronger subsidiaries in foreign countries. You want to respond to this trend in EGAP in future by extending your services, by expanding or having some additional program to cover this particular and support this particular sphere of investment of Czech companies. Well, the fact that the program exists means that it's not necessary to expand it now. We can see a certain overlap, and there is all transfer from actual export to investment activities. So in India, when we take it an example, there used to be exports in the past and insurance of credit risks. At the present time, over the past 2 years, that have been investments particularly. So it's a certain trend. When the exporter finds out that in a certain territory, and you can't, the territories where you can better invest, some others where you can better invest. So if you find out that it's better to export, to produce and to invest, it's a question. When you have a subsidiary, it's a question of transport, etc., access to the market, question of supporting the production of a particular state locally. So India is typical that many former exporters have been becoming investors step by step. Mr. Vice President, thank you for your contribution. Look forward to our future cooperation. I will give the floor to the Director of the Export Financing, Mr. Tomáš Hadžek, in the Czech Export Bank. Mr. Director, you've heard from EGAP that this is a trend at the present time. The Czech companies really start to invest in foreign countries and realizing that the strength of their position in foreign markets is very important for them. How the Czech Export Bank responds to this situation? Unfortunately, we can't hear you, Mr. Hadžek. You have to do something with your mic. Maybe your mic is muted, so you have to demute it. So we got stuck somewhere on the way. Are you switched, Mr. Director? In the meantime, I will ask the Prague headquarters whether we can go back to the presentation by Mr. Barawaj concerning investment incentives by the Indian government or the Karnataka state investment for the Czech investors. Is it possible? We are experiencing all kinds of technical problems, as I can see today. So, Mr. Tomáš Hadžek has now the possibility of making a statement. Or Mr. Baranvaj?
Neslyšíme vás, Baranvaj. Asi máte vypnutý mikrofon, musíte si ho zapnout. Can you hear me? Thank you for coming back, Mr. Hadžek. I would like to thank you very much for the invitation. It is definitely an honor for me to introduce the Czech Export Bank here. I maybe repeat something that Marek Dlouhý has already said because I didn't hear him before. We don't have much time though. We want to support the trend of capital export. I would like to be more practical, I would like to say how such business what it looks like. We provide loans for investments abroad. In the bigger ones, we cooperate with the GAP. In the smaller ones, it doesn't have to be the case. Let's imagine when we buy a foreign company, it may be a competitor or something in a vertical chain. And abroad, maybe also construction of a manufacturing plant or machinery equipment and such. Of course, we do business like this now, and we support it too. Of course, it has certain limitations. I don't want to take much time talking about them. However, the company, of course, should not do business in a field they don't know much about, and it should have certain foreign experience. And the investment usually follows an export activity in the given markets. Of course, it is also very important to provide support in management of the foreign branch when it's not always easy. Of course, we have to also consider the loan risks if the investment is not successful, so that it is not too much of an emergency for the company if it doesn't work out. In terms of other restrictions, we have to take into account is that it should not be a sort of project funding like investment in a foreign solar plant. It's not a classical case I'm talking about. I'm talking more about manufacturing plants or some kind of business units. However, this should be somehow related to the business that the company does in the Czech Republic. What I would like to mention, besides that, how do we support daughter companies of Czech manufacturers and exporters abroad? We often take bank guarantees in case of risk, and especially in India, funded a stock of a machinery producer from the Czech Republic, so that he could increase his sales. So we funded a consignment warehouse in India, as an example. We don't have much time, so it was just an example. If you have any questions, of course, I'm ready to answer them. However, I think I have mentioned what was important for this topic. So when we take a very simple investment intent, so a Czech company, as an investor, decides, let's say, to invest at the first stage 15 or 20 million in their branch abroad, and they transfer their manufacturing technology there. They may rent space in some site there that we will build there for Czech companies, so that they don't have to look for one, so that they can save the costs, enormous costs usually, if they want to operate in foreign markets. So this company decides to invest in India and will want to use partially its resources for it. And half of the resources it needs to lend from your bank. How do you proceed in such a case, and what is the procedure? The ratio of own and foreign resources, I will comment on first. The case you commented on, 50-50 is a safe option. We are able to cover 70% in terms of the investment intents and our funding. Then we organize an initial meeting where we introduce the intent. We give the company a list of documents they need to deliver. Those are mainly financial statements and other documents that will help us consider the financial strength of the company, and that will also introduce us the intent, including the return. within 4 to 6 weeks, then we are able to construct this transaction and approve it, and then we are able to proceed to the approval of this intent. Of course, the amount is also important. You were saying 20 million. Of course, it is possible to provide a loan. However, it is a question whether such an investment for the relevant company makes sense, or whether it should not be higher, so that it brings the fruit expected after so much time was invested. An additional question: in how should the company provide this loan in case they decide to do this? Of course, according to the law, we have to provide some kind of insurance. Usually it is from the Czech Republic, so that it is as a collateral. We use real estate, machinery. Usually these are the forms of collaterals that we use. Thank you. So I see that the Export Bank is ready to help the entrepreneurs. Of course, you are in this commercial environment also together with the commercial banks. And one of the things the state should think about is probably how it could help the Czech companies with providing the investment loans. Because for a Czech entrepreneur, if he wants to invest abroad, it's a new thing. We are still learning it. And so it's a new thing for a Czech entrepreneur to invest abroad, and it's quite risky. And if they should also use their property, for example, as a collateral, then it may put them off, and they decide to use their own financial resources instead. Even though commercial banks may provide the entrepreneur better services. Maybe Czech Export Bank can provide these services, though, and because it is already a trend in the Czech Republic, and we can export through the world. So Czech companies have strong capital, they have strong know-how, so they can do this. And Czech Export Bank is a bank. Is very close to the state, and they can provide their experience with the Czech investors, and they can make proposals how to help Czech companies grow and expand abroad, and how to get into the first export league. And help the companies invest, bring the know-how, employ Czech people, and help the location get better. And of course, we as Czech entrepreneurs also want to make money on this. If I may, do we still have some time? Yes, of course, Mr. Ambassador. I would like to apologize to my colleagues, but I would like to use this opportunity. I believe that many our companies listen to us. We would like to use the opportunities of the incubator. January has already been mentioned. Between Europe and India is frozen now. But if somebody wants to go to Bengal now, can go. There is the opportunity now, and for the month of February, we would like to realize a physical flight. There is an airline that will provide the flights. So I would like to say, ask whether some companies from this area may follow us. Together with Karnataka state, we would like to organize another event on this topic. I just wanted to say these few messages in a practical way. So I would like to ask the organizers to mention these points of contact to our colleagues at the embassy and in offices in Bangalore and Bombay. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to our cooperation. Thank you for this practical entry. Of course, it's very important because if we want to establish something abroad without flying there physically, it is very hard. However, I have to confirm that as we have been working abroad, the digital ways have been extended, and the reaction of the Indian administration to digital documentation and establishment of companies is very good at this moment. So it is possible to work this way now too. We talked about this at the beginning. There are companies that in terms of exports are at zero, and there are companies that grow in terms of exports. And so the Czech exports, as a result, is not doing as badly as we may think now. And even though there are some problems with in export destinations and manufacturing units nowadays, at this time, basically all entrepreneurs are equal around the world in terms of the opportunities. For those who are not afraid, who want to expand, and who see a certain way of self-realization in this, it's a good time for them because they can get ahead faster than the others who may be more cautious. However, it is always necessary to consider all the risks. However, the Czech state has decided to invest and has invested already the first resources in the incubator, and they are already on the account of Czech trade, and they will start to flow already at the beginning of next year. So at the end of this conference, I would like to invite the Czech companies to start their activities in this field. We already have 4 companies now to whom we would like to help establish their branches in India now, and it works. So we will be happy to see you there. Mr. Kameník is there directly in this location of the incubator that we have there now. He is also an honorary consul for South India. Mr. Prakash is there, and it's also a very good thing because if something unexpected happens to you, then you can use this diplomatic protection and support there directly in this location. That's also a great advantage. Also, the weather conditions are very good there. So at this time, there's almost an ideal weather there. It's not so bad there in the summer either as in other parts of India, because Bangalore is very high above the sea, a high altitude. So and India nowadays is such a world powerhouse. The energy produced there, that's a great market, enormous market with many opportunities for our companies. And we see that many companies are interested now in India. Unfortunately, we have not been able to connect with our Indian friends, so we will follow up and organize a seminar in connection with the Indian government, because as Czech investors, we would like to pose many questions, and we would like some answers to our questions. In case a Czech company invests in India and will employ local people, we will also increase the employment rate as a result, and we will give an opportunity to Indian employees to learn a new know-how that we create here in the Czech Republic and that we have created here in the last 30 years, where we really have been thriving. What are the investment incentives, specific ones? Will a Czech company get support from local government? Can it count on this support? And how potentially should we then work or continue in these negotiations? So I would like to thank you very much. I would like to greet our friends in India. I would like to greet all companies that were connected to us. I would like to thank the partners of this event. Thank you for your attention, and we will follow up in these events. We'll get more news from us. Have a nice Friday. Be healthy and mainly invest in India. Goodbye. Goodbye. I wish you all the best. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.